everyone, hope everybody's doing good this week. This week I thought I would show you how to put together a compote, which is a dish that a lot of people use for fruit. It goes a lot like that. So what we did to begin with is I threw this cylinder. It's just a cylinder. Haven't even cleaned the bottom up, so that's that part. And then I threw a shallow bowl, and I haven't trimmed it yet. So what I'm going to do is trim the bowl and fix this bottom edge of the cylinder, and then we're going to attach the two together. Okay, so now I've got the bowl pretty much trimmed, and I'm just testing to see if it gives a little bit when I press on it with my fingers, and it does. Okay, so now we're going to clean this little guy up, and I usually just take my needle tool and I'm just going to spin it in here, trying to use the same amount of pressure all the way around. And if you want to turn it upside down and cement it onto the wheel to clean it, you can. But this is a pretty fast and efficient way to do it, just using a needle tool on your fingers. So I'm just going to smooth that nice edge on the outside. And then when I'm all finished attaching the piece to the bowl, I will go back with a sponge and really clean this up. But I'm just gently smoothing it now, making a nice soft finish. And then we're just going to attach this guy to the bowl. Okay, now, all right, so I'm gonna kind of you kind of have to guesstimate the middle unless you want to measure, which I don't, but you can. It's good to have it directly in the center. You're going to have to center this piece onto this piece, or it will be like this when you're trying to put it down here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna place this on here and start to center this onto the bowl. Can y'all hear my puppy? He wants to come in. It's almost there. I think it's pretty good. Hey, puppy. Hi, puppy. So it's in the center now. So what you're going to want to do is you want to mark where it's supposed to be. So I'm just going to outline the outside of the compote. Well, the outside of the cylinder. Sorry about that. And then I'm going to make a cross here and a cross here, like that. So we know that this cross goes with this cross, and then it should be where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to pull this off, and I'm going to score this part of the compote. Well, not the cylinder. Sorry, I keep saying that. I'm going to score it really, really well because we're asking it to really attach to this bowl. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up some of this slip over here and just apply that. And then I'm going to score back over that slip. Really make it sticky. And then I'm just going to start to slip and score right on the inside of this circle that we created. I'm going to gather up some more slip and just, don't get it too wet, but I got it a little too wet there. And don't destroy your circle because you need to know where to put your cylinder. Then I'm going to go back again and really slip and score this piece. It's really sticky. Okay. One thing we don't want it to be is too slippery because then it'll slide right off. That's not good. So now I'm going to go back and find my cross, and I'm going to line it up with this cross here so we know exactly where it's supposed to go. Now, some of you have watched me do some work like this before, and when I attach things, when I score both sides, I twist them back and forth. What I'm trying to do is to get the scored and slip part to accept the other scored and slip part, and I want them to lock into each other. So I just kind of, I just try to push it back and forth, just rocking it, and so it settles into each other. And I bet you, if I didn't do anything else to this, this would stay attached to this point. I don't think it would pop off because I have done such a good job of really twisting this, and it's down, and I can feel that it's settled and it's stuck. Like I'm pulling pretty hard here, and it's not coming off. Okay, so, but we're not going to leave it at that because that would be leaving it to chance, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to take a little clay off of these guys here, and I'm going to make a snake, and I'm going to put that all the way around this cylinder area. So we're just going to push this little snake right into this little crevice, the joining of the cylinder and the bowl, and I'm just pushing with my thumb all the way around like that and join with the snake. There we go. Now we're going to do that inside. So we're going to take another snake and we're going to do that inside. And we're going to push. It's harder on the inside because you can't see it. You're doing it blind, but you guys have been doing clay long enough that you can do this. You got skills. So you're just going to push that down in there like that. Okay. Mine got a little crazy in there. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to start to spin the wheel slowly. And for you guys that are using the electric wheel, really take your time to find a nice slow speed and then take your foot off the wheel and work from there. And so I'm not going to touch the front here. I'm just working on the inside right now. And I'm actually throwing dry. So I'm not adding any water. There's a little bit of sludge from the slip, but I'm not adding any water to this because when you attach a cylinder to a bowl like this and you reintroduce water to these two pieces, you're just asking for stress cracks. You really are, because this is stressful already. Asking these two pieces to join, especially in the flat part of a bowl, you're asking for trouble already. But then you introduce water to it, and then that's even more trouble. So I always put my hand in here dry. And the great thing about the inside of a compote, nobody sees the top part of the cylinder. Now you can make it look pretty good in there. You can also go at it later with a sponge once things set up a little bit more. Okay, mine looks pretty good in there. So I'm just kind of working on this rim a little bit. I'm gonna add some water to just this rim in a minute and fix that. But now we're gonna work here. And I am actually going to introduce a little bit of water here. Just a tiny bit. And it's actually slip. It's not really water. It's my clay slip that I used to throw with. Just gonna add just a little bit. See how little that is? Very small. And then I'm gonna hold from the inside. And again, notice how slow my wheel is. It's very slow. This is not a fast process, and we don't want it to be. Okay, so now it's nice to find a little rubber rib. You can also use a wooden one, but one that's flexible helps in these situations because this is an angle here, and when you try to use something flat, you can't get into this little space. So I'm going to use this little guy, and I'm going to put a little slip on it, just a little bit, and I'm just going to start working that snake into the cylinder, like that, and then I'm going to wipe it off, and I'm going to start working it into the bowl. I'm going to add a little bit of a snake here because there's a little indentation here that I put a little bit of a larger snake on this side, and this side is a little smaller. So if you find that to be happening to you where you feel like one side looks a little bit larger, your snake looks a little larger on one side, you can always just add a little bit more clay. This, like I said, this is a slow process, and I just kind of take my time adding and subtracting clay as I need to. Making sure to really integrate the clay together, and then I'm gonna go again with my rib and just start working this new snake into this bowl here. I don't make a lot of these because they are such a slow process and they take a lot of time, but I do find that people really do enjoy them. You know, got a nice bowl with a stand for your fruit, and you can put cookies or muffins or whatever you want. And that's about as good as it's going to get for right now. So I'm going to work on this little edge here, and it does look a little wobbly. I'm watching the video. It looks a little wobbly, but it should stand up just fine. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, especially when you're joining pieces. So once this guy is all done, he will look completely centered. He's not looking like that right now, is he? Alright, that feels pretty good. Like I said, it's not ever going to be perfect, but I think it looks like it's smooth and joining very nicely. I'm going to take a very, very damp sponge to this now and just clean it up a little bit. And then what I like to do is I like to let it set up. And when I say set up, I mean like a little bit before leather hard, where you can still change some things if there's something you need to change. So I will actually let this sit up, and I'll go back, and I may end up re-throwing parts of it. But for right now, let's see how it does when we take it off the wheel and see what it looks like. I'm going to dry this off since we're going to be sitting this down on the bat. Okay, let's pull these up. Oops. There we go. Now, let's gently lift it up and see what we got. I think that looks pretty good. I do want to work on this rim just a minute with the sponge because it's a little rough from being on the bat. Okay. And just wipe down the inside side. It's a little messy in here. But I think that's a pretty nice little compote with my nice slip fingerprints on it. Let me take those off. There we go. So you can fuss with your little piece once you get it done. Again, if you want to let it set up, that helps to go back and look inside the cylinder, outside the cylinder, and you can fix things that you don't like about it. But I hope y'all enjoyed this little video, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Stay healthy, stay safe. See you next week.